Some people seem to possess a sixth sense about knowing when their time is up. Strangely, some celebrities have actually predicted their own deaths. Some stars have even predicted the precise manner and circumstances of their own deaths. In this video, we'll take a closer look at several celebrities who have predicted their own deaths and left the world totally mystified by their accuracy. Oliver Reed. In 1994, actor Oliver Reed predicted his death during a live TV interview. He presumed he would leave this world behind after having a heart attack in a bar while having one final good belly laugh. He imagined there would be some kind of cabbage competition at the bar, and he'd be fairly confident he would win it. After someone would make a rather questionable bet, he'd take it and shake the man's hand, at which point he would laugh so hard he'd get sick and die. On May 2, 1999, Reed passed away in a bar in Valletta, Malta, while filming Ridley Scott's Gladiator. While he did indeed die in a bar, his co-star Omid Jalili later revealed he hadn't had a drink for months before filming started. When he was pressured into a drinking competition, he should have left, but sadly he didn't. If he had stuck with his sobriety, he very well could have lived on for many years. The rumors of what and how much Oliver drank that day vary, but what we do know is his untimely death was a great loss for the acting community and movie industry alike. Gladiator was supposed to be his big comeback film. His acting career had taken a nosedive in the 90s due to a handful of dud films and his many drunken appearances on TV. But before his career took a turn for the worse, he had made a name for himself, starring in films like The Trap, Oliver, The Three Musketeers, and The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. He was posthumously nominated for a BAFTA Award for Best Actor in a Supporting Role in 2000 for his role as Antonius Proximo in Gladiator. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Facts First for more. And keep watching to learn how Jim Morrison of The Doors accurately predicted he would become a member of the infamous 27 Club. James Dean. While James didn't predict his own death per se, a fellow actor did. Alec Guinness was an Academy Award-winning actor who appeared in dozens of hit films throughout his career that spanned 6 decades. But Star Wars fans will always remember him best for his iconic portrayal of Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. But even before Guinness appeared in A New Hope, it would seem the Force was already strong with him. In 1955, Alec predicted actor James Dean would soon pass away. Less than a week later, he did. In the early 50s, James Dean was one of the most popular actors in Tinseltown. Dean had a penchant for car racing and participated in dozens of races. In October of 1955, he entered the Salinas Road race with his shiny new 1955 Porsche Spyder. En route to the venue, he was involved in a collision with a 1950 Ford Tudor that collided with the passenger side of his vehicle while it was turning left at a busy intersection. Dean's Porsche flipped onto the side of the highway, leaving him with life-threatening injuries. Sadly, he was pronounced dead at the hospital a little under an hour later. Dean was only 24. He later became the first actor honored with a posthumous Academy Award. Guinness had met Dean a week before his death while he was in LA. He ran into Dean after being turned away from a restaurant frequented by Hollywood elites. After leaving the restaurant and walking down the street, Guinness heard footsteps behind him. He looked to see who it was and discovered it was the famous Rebel Without a Cause actor. After introducing himself, Dean asked Guinness if he'd care to join him. After agreeing to accompany him, Dean showed Guinness his new Porsche Spyder and bragged it could reach speed up to 150 miles an hour. Guinness then felt like something had suddenly come over him. In a distinctly different voice, he warned Dean to not get into the vehicle. If he did, Guinness warned he would be dead in a week. Dean brushed the comment off and proceeded to have a nice dinner with his guest, but a week later, just as Guinness had predicted, he suffered his fatal crash. Carrie Fisher. Fisher is perhaps best known for her portrayal of Princess Leia in Star Wars. She never shied away from the fact that she lived life to the fullest. Whenever she got the chance, she would proudly discuss her party-hardy lifestyle and the fact that she lived with no regrets. Recently, her dear friend James Blunt revealed that she predicted her own death more than a decade before her passing. Blunt stayed with Fisher at her home in LA while recording his album Back to Bedlam. According to him, Fisher had written the date of her birth and death on a cardboard cutout of Princess Leia that she placed outside of his room. While Blunt admits he doesn't remember the precise date she picked, he thinks it was probably around the same time as her actual demise. Back to Bedlam was recorded in 2003. a full 13 years before Fisher's death on December 27, 2016. Brandon and Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, the famed martial artist and actor, was killed when he suffered a brain aneurysm after taking medication given to him by a friend in 1973. 2 decades later, Bruce's son, Brandon Lee, was shot and killed while filming a movie. A prop gun somehow became jammed and fired a blank into his abdomen. He bled out minutes later. Bruce and Brandon Lee's deaths have inspired numerous conspiracy theories, some more outlandish than others. The most frequently shared one, however, is the theory that the entire Lee family is cursed. The curse has allegedly brought about the untimely deaths of numerous males in the Lee family. One of the eeriest things about this curse is the fact that Bruce Lee himself believed in it. He reportedly even had several premonitions of his death. At one point, he was quoted as saying he did not believe he'd live to be even half as old as his dad, who died at age 64. Bruce died at 32. He also speculated his son would also die young. Brandon ended up dying at 28. In the 1993 film Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, Bruce is haunted by a demon since birth. At the end of the film, Bruce braces himself to finally face the demon, but it sets its sights on Brandon instead. At the time of the film's production, Brandon Lee was still alive, but his on-set accident killed him before the film hit theaters, leading many to believe the fictional story somehow accurately predicted his fate. Pete Maravich. Known by the nickname Pistol Pete, Maravich was an American pro basketball player who played in the NCAA and NBA. He was considered one of the greatest creative offensive talents to ever play. In 1974, he gave an interview with the Beaver County Times where he stated he didn't want to play 10 years in the NBA and die of a heart attack at age 40. Pete indeed ended up playing for the NBA for exactly 10 years before dying at age 40. When he gave the interview, Maravich had only been playing basketball for 4 years. What he was trying to say was he didn't need basketball and he could do something else if he wanted. According to the LA County Coroner's report, Maravich died from an undetermined kind of heart disease. His autopsy revealed it was a rare congenital defect. He had been born without a left coronary artery, and his right coronary artery was extremely enlarged and had been compensating for the defect. Essentially, the condition turned him into a ticking time bomb, but Maravich was blissfully unaware of that. Reportedly, his last words were, "I feel great." Jim Morrison. Jim Morrison was the front man for The Doors. He was both a gifted poet and songwriter who rose to fame due to his distinctive lyrics and voice and because of his outlandishly wild personality. He's often considered one of the most iconic and influential frontmen in rock and roll history. Like so many other musicians before him and since, Morrison was addicted to alcohol and hard drugs. On September 18, 1970, psychedelic rock pioneer Jimi Hendrix died, and less than a month later, on October 4th, Janis Joplin also passed away. Both died from drug overdoses at the age of 27, and that's how the notorious 27 Club got its start. Morrison was devastated by the loss of 2 of his musical contemporaries. Everyone in his circle described him as being deeply disturbed by their deaths. Friends who hung out with him at an LA bar in October of 1970 recalled how he said he would soon be, quote, number 3. His ominous words turned out true, as Morrison was found dead in a bathtub on July 3, 1971, at age 27. The official cause of death was heart failure, though no autopsy was performed. According to several eyewitnesses, however, his death was caused by an accidental heroin overdose. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think people can predict the future, or do you think the folks in this video were just good guessers? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.